Hello everyone, this is Leo from the Monkeys Monkey Misplaced channel. We are moving on to the fourth episode of the Out of the Box Challenge series. We have now seen Vermilion out of the box and Silhouette out of the box. We also had the match between them with Silhouette coming out the victor, and now we're moving on to Ezel, who will be facing off against Misty Arc. But you might be wondering, in case this is your first episode, maybe you decided to just check us out, see what you think. What is the out-the-box deck, right? So this is a deck built using only cards in a given set and a one trial deck for a respective nation. We only use the perfect cards and triggers from the trial deck. We don't use any sneak peek or box upper promos that might have come alongside a set. We're just using specifically the cards in the set. We don't do reprints either, right? So we can't use things like Kybri, anything like that. There is an addendum here that I'm going to give as in regards to the triggers. The trial deck triggers are a little bit hard to find, so you might see that in some of the decks in the gameplays we use other vanilla triggers. That's it. Honestly, you can use other vanilla triggers as long as you're just playing a set of fronts, a set of heals, a set of crits, and a set of draws, right? And then the vanilla over trigger again, right? This is to test and to get a feel for what the deck needs, right? And Ezel is one of the few cases where I've tested it, and I can tell you wholeheartedly what I believe this deck is missing. But I just wanted to say that because we are having a little bit of trouble. We thought we had the trial decks, but maybe we lost those triggers along the way somewhere and we couldn't find them. So the Ezel one, and I believe like some of these other the last two we're using different triggers, but it's fine as long as they're just vanilla triggers, right? The whole point of this is to get a feel for what you believe your deck, right? You're trying to learn about your deck, see what it needs, right? That's what this series is. It's also a fun deck building challenge to see just how effective a deck can be with just what Bushiroad provides us, right? So let's move on. Let's talk about what this list is going to look like. Obviously, you have the ride line here. We're using the Ezel ride line. No reason to use anything different, anything strange. You need it for Bowmains to get a superior write-off. Then we move on to trigger units. Again, as long as you're playing a vanilla version of any of these triggers, right? And you don't have to play only 3 draws. If you wanted to play 4 draws and maybe 3 fronts or 3 crits, you're more than welcome to. But this is the most common list when people mention rainbow triggers, right? OT obviously it's just a generic one because we're trying to put restrictions on ourselves to maybe think outside the box, or I guess in this case think inside the box, right? Then we have the perfect arts from the trial deck. Again, these I would recommend just getting. They're super cheap. You're gonna have them in bulk or whatever. Should be easy to find. If not, if you want to do a challenge similar to this, you can use the good perfect cards. Just play them as if they were not the good ones, right? Does it really change anything deck building wise? Not really, but it is. It's more interesting this way, right? And you have to play differently if you're not using the good ones, right? Then, all right, now we move on to the more unique units with Dindrain. She is such a good card, but that Soul Blast 2 for a counter charge, it was very annoying with this out of the box deck. You don't really have any way to make Soul in this deck, and that really shows as you get further along. You really gotta pressure your opponent so fast with this deck. You really gotta kill them as quickly as possible because you are gonna run out of resources. And again, that's for this version of the deck. Outside of this, I'm gonna probably build Ezel differently, although Kat might want to build it as like the good version, so just get used to that. And then her second ability to just restand, that's pretty good. I wish she put the rear guard into Soul, but I guess that would be a little too strong. But Dindrain, obviously a 4 of. You want that counter charge, you want to be able to restand, you want to bottom stuff up, get it off the board so that you can superior call with Ezel. Silver Fang Witch, she gets a free +5 if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater and is from Gold Paladin, and then she can counterblast when to draw a card. She's your draw, essentially. Then we have Knight of Brave Advanced Cadigan. He will gain +5 for the whole turn if you've played a normal order. Ezel has his own normal order that you play, so he'll be a 13k booster or 13k attacker. He can also, when placed on rear, counterblast 1 to search your deck or drop for up to 1, uplifting him. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you search your deck, you shuffle the deck. We do play 2 copies of uplifting him, which you'll see later in this deck to have more normal orders you can play, as well as just being good pitch fodder if you really need it. Then we have the 2 uplifting him here. This card is interesting. Let's say you really need to play a normal order to get off some of the effects in the deck. You can play this. One of the biggest issues that I see from playing this deck is that it doesn't have any way to make soul outside of just like riding up, which makes it a little hard to play this card, but it can get itself back, and it gives 2 of your rear guards +5. So it's recurable. It's just that Soul Blast cost is very, very rough, you know. Then we play 4 Knight of Superior Skills Bowmains. He can put himself at the bottom, so if you don't have a Din Drain, he can remove himself, so you don't have to worry about not being able to multi-attack with Ezel. One of these is in the ride line, so you know, just keep that in mind. Then we have 3 Particle Lights Dragon. When he attacks the Vanguard, if you've played a normal order this turn, you can counterblast 1 to draw a card and gains +5. Just some more card draw, and again, you need to play a normal order, but you know, you'll see in the next slide, we're playing 4 of the Ezel order and then 2 uplifting him. You should be able to get this effect off. The fact that he uses CB is pretty good, so you don't gotta use Soul, which again, this deck just loves to eat. Then we have Reign Supreme King of Beasts. This card can be played if you have Vanguard with Ezel in its card name. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less unit card from among them, call it to rear, and it gets +5 until end of turn, then you shuffle your deck. Thank God this order is free, because it's the only upside I can see from it. I wish it called 2 units, if possible. If maybe they've had put maybe some more restrictions on it, maybe it was only top 5 or top 3, and you could call up to 2. Because although it is free, it is so rough. I'm gonna be honest with you, it is incredibly rough. And then let's talk about the boss of this deck, Incandescent Lion Blond Ezel. He has 3 different effects. The first one says that you can only ride cards with Ezel in their card name. Then the other one says at the beginning of your ride phase, if you have 3 or less units, you can Soul Blast 1 to look at the top 3, choose up to 1 grade 3 or less unit card from among them, call it to an open rear, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. I wish it didn't use Soul. I wish that ability was just free and that you could just do it as long as you had less units, because this deck eats a lot of soul, and there's no real way for you to get it back. Honestly, in this out of the box, and I looked to see if there was anything else that could help this deck, and there really isn't. There was just more things that use soul, so that's a big issue in the deck. And then his second effect is that when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can counterblast on to look at top 7, call up to 2 grade 3 or less units from among them to open rear, and then he gains +10 until end of turn. I don't know why he doesn't also give power to the rear guards, but I guess since it's a multi-attack deck, they didn't want to give more power to the rear guards. But by God, is it rough? But I think with that, we've ended this. I might have complained a little bit too much about Ezel, and believe me, I actually really enjoy playing the deck. It's fun, but out of the box, it is a struggle to play this deck. You have to resource manage super hard, right? And sometimes you have to make plays that really hurt your soul. You know, you're gonna not be able to activate some abilities here, or you're gonna have to take more damage than you want to so that you can use more abilities the next turn. It is a rough go at it. But with that, we're done. We have next episode, we'll be talking about Mythiarch, which I'm hoping to get Kat to do his episode. He's been super busy, so you know he hasn't really had a chance to come record. The game, even the gameplay we did, he was on like a tight schedule. We literally had to like record that. I had to go get him. We came, recorded that episode, and he had to take off almost immediately. But hopefully, now that we have the case all set up and all of the decks are ready, he will have a little bit more of a chance to get that video recorded by Wednesday. I would also like to say that we are super close to 30 subscribers. You know, I never thought that people were gonna want to watch my stuff, and you know, I've been trying to learn, put more effort into these things. You know, I'm learning Photoshop, stuff like that. We're at 29, and all I want is to get to that 30. I don't know why I'm putting so much like thought into getting to that number. I feel like it's just that we had like a constant slow growth, and we've just been at 29 for so long. So I would beg of you, please consider subscribing. I just want to get to that 30 mark, and I just can't help myself. But with that, this has been Leo. Thank you all for watching. Have a nice day.